Well, as I said to Russell T Davies, I feel so totally privileged to be anything to do with this episode, yet alone play the character of Lance through this.
I want to show how huge death is, that someone, it's really saying the obvious, but I don't think drama does the obvious in the sense that someone who has lived for all those years comes to an end, bang, like that.
It goes back into his life from birth right through to present day. We see a couple of other actors, in fact, playing me as young men. Then I take over from sort of 30 up to the present day.
I play Ralph, the father of Lance. And you first meet me in 1966. It's the time that Lance is born. We're in 1971, he's 5 years old. Mum's ill, close to death, actually, and Dad's trying to protect the children from watching their mum in such a condition. We'll next see Lance at 13 years old, and then he comes back home from university at 20.
There's not really any major characteristics that I've taken from Cyril, but we did meet up and talk about a common sort of idiosyncratic gesture that Lance could have, and it's just a little subtle thing that if you miss it, then you've missed it, but if you see it, then obviously you see it.
I'm 30 years old, and this is a Christmas visit to home. I've come home with my now regular boyfriend, Craig, and I got great hair and everything, like I used to look when I was younger.
It's a real masterpiece, I think, of our casting director to get all those actors to be one character, all led by Cyril Marie as the main Lance, of course. I think it's a terrific piece of work.
Today we're shooting the last day of Lance Sullivan's life. The culmination of the breakup with Henry, the meeting of Daniel, Daniel's own received homophobia, ends in this moment of passion. And a man who can't face himself, essentially just lashing out. The sad part is that it's a moment in which Lance finally gets, physically at least, a relationship that he wants. And just in that moment, it all goes wrong. You know, it's a brilliant piece of writing, and it's tough to do. It is tough to do.
We are filming the scene where Lance is killed by Daniel with a golf club. So we are breaking down the shot into 2 takes. One is Lance's reaction, death. So he acts out being hit in the side of the head. So we've shot that a few times till we get the take that we like. We then mark on the playback screen where his head is. We've then built a rig, which is a punch bag on a stand, and we will position that in the right place. And then Daniel's character comes in with the golf club, and we mark on the punch bag where we want him to hit it, and then we've done a few takes of him walloping that, and then those will be combined together to create a gory death for Lance. For the close-up shot, what we're going to do is, as his head is hit out of frame, we're going to cut there, and then we're going to dress him with a prosthetic, and then he can come back up into shot, making it look like he's just had his head broken.
So he made a prosthetic by getting a live cast of the artist, and then a very talented guy called Francesco. He sculpted the wound onto the head, and then that was moulded in silicone. So then we were able then to take out a copy of the sculpt in silicone also as a prosthetic piece. And then once that was out, I then backed it up with a bladder, which was then rigged up to the pegler, which made it bleed.
A fun day, but a tough day. The strange thing about sort of emotional things like that is once you've started, like with the crying, you sometimes can't stop because you're sort of trawling your own emotional history, and that's not a very useful thing to do. I wouldn't suggest it. I prefer acting it. And you've got all those people doing sort of really, really quite complex jobs just to get something to look perfect. You spend all that time setting up, and then you've got to get it right immediately, and then you go again and again and again, and that can be quite trying. But when you're working with, any sort of talent, you can't really go wrong.